Gender has been a perennial sensitive issue the country is quite challenged to talk about, from feminism to third gender rights. It may due to our cultural differences, social biases, and recalcitrant prejudices, which become the reason why the former and reigning administrations provided not just for the women or third genders, but also for defend and efficient bills or laws that seeks to establish and protect the rights of every individual, regardless of their genders. Good day, this is the Group 3 leader of BIT13CT, Janina Hiron, and here are the approved and proposed laws under gender and development. First on our list is the RA 8745, or the General Appropriations Act of 1999. This bill was approved on 30th of December 1999. It states that programs or projects related to gender and development, the National Economic and Development Authority or NEDA, and the Department of Budget and Management or DBM, in consultation with the National Commission on the Role of Women or NCRFW, shall formulate a set of guidelines for the implementation of programs or projects related to GAD. This act is basically about requiring all the institutions, establishments, offices, etc., public or private, to follow the guidelines set by the mentioned government institutions such as the NEDA, DBM, and NCRFW in implementing their own GAD plan, which includes the name of their projects, other inclusions, and the total budget for it. On this very slide, you can see at the top the format of the guidelines the government institutions provided, such as the name and inclusion of their GAD plan and the budgets for it for an entire year. Below are the example of such. The first and third image shows the 2021 GAD plan of the Department of Energy, the public poster, and the GAD plan format, respectively, while the second photo illustrates the GAD budget.
So for the second one would be Commonwealth Act number 647, or an act to grant maternity leave to married women who are in the service of government or of any of its instrumentalities. So there are 4 sections under this law. So the section 1 is married women who are permanently or temporarily appointed in the service of the government or in any of its branches, subdivision, or agency, including corporation or enterprises. So this shall, in addition to the vacation and sick leave which they may enjoy now, be entitled in case of pregnancy to a maternity leave of 60 days subject to the following condition. So ibig sabihin, binibigyan ng 60 days of leave of absence ang isang babaeng nagdadalang tao, and pwede siyang bigyan din ng kanyang full salary or half of the salary, depende sa condition. So under this condition, there are 3 conditions. So the number 1 is permanent and regular employees who have rendered 2 or more years of continuous service shall be entitled to paternity leave with full pay. So ibig sabihin, kapag yung tao ay nagtatrabaho ng 2 or more than 2 years at nagko-continue siya sa kanyang service, siya binibigyan ng maternity leave with 60 days na leave, and it will live with full pay. So the second one would be permanent and regular employees who have rendered less than 2 years of continuous service shall be entitled to half pay. So ito naman, kapag less than 2 years naman yung pagsaservice niya sa isang agency, so mabibigyan lang din siya ng half pay ng kanyang sahod. So for the third one temporary employees shall be entitled to maternity leave without pay and shall be readmitted to the service and the end of their leave. So, ibig sabihin, para sa mga irregular employees, so mabibigyan pa rin sila ng maternity leave pero without pay. And marere-admit sila sa kanilang service. It's either malipat or mabago yung kanilang agency. So, hindi sila pwedeng mag-refuse sa readmission na to. So, the section 2, the proper department head of chief of bureau or office shall, subject to the requirements of public service, avoid the assignment of strenuous and fatigue work to married women under their charge who are in the state of pregnancy. So, hindi nila pwedeng bigyan ng mabibigat na trabaho yung mga babaeng nagdadalang tao. And the section 3, any savings in the appropriation, allotment, or fund for salaries and wage authorized for any fiscal year for the department of the government concerned, and for any of its branches, subdivision, or agency, or instrumentalities, including corporation, enterprises owned by control it, may be used for temporary employment of substitute officer. So, para sa mga, syempre, kapag naglilib na yung mga babaeng nagdadalang tao, syempre, kailangan din ng kapalit para dun sa trabaho na gagawin nila. So, pwede silang kumuha sa mga any branches or agencies ng kanilang government. So, for the section 4, though this act shall take effect upon its approval. So, this law approved on June 14, 1941. And sa example naman is, number 1 is yung sa mga teacher. So, karamihan sa mga teacher, diba, babae. So, syempre, may mga nagdadalang tao na teacher. So, pwede nila gamitin itong law na to. Makakapag-leave sila ng 60 days leave of vacation. And, yun lang. So, that's all.
Law Number 3, Republic Act 9208 Anti-Trafficking in Person Act of 2003 was signed into law on May 26, 2003. An act to institute policies to eliminate trafficking in persons, especially women and children, establishing the necessary institutional mechanism for the protection and support of trafficked persons, providing penalties for its violation and for other purposes. It says that this law that fights against human trafficking, particularly of women and children, it sets up ways to have victims and punishes those who traffic people, and its goal is to stop trafficking and protect those at risk. One of example of this is attempting to traffic in person is trying to recruit a woman to have a baby with the intention of selling the child, and this could involve convincing or forcing a woman to become pregnant and then planning to sell the baby once it's born, and it's against the law because it exploits both the woman and the child for profit.
Ang Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004 o Republic Act 9262 ay isang batas sa Pilipinas na naglalayong protektahan ang mga kababaihan at kanilang mga anak laban sa iba't ibang anyo ng karahasan. Ang layunin ng batas ay protektahan ang kababaihan at kanilang mga anak mula sa physical violence, sexual violence, psychological violence, at economic abuse. Ito rin ay naglalayong itaguyod ang karapatan ng kababaihan sa kanilang mga anak sa kaligtasan at dignidad. Ang batas ay sumasaklaw sa lahat ng anyo ng karahasan na nagmula sa isang taong may dating o kasalukuyang relasyon sa biktima. Kasama dito ang mga asawa, mga dating asawa, mga kasintahan at iba pang katulad na relasyon. May 4 na uri ng karahasan. Una ay physical violence, sexual violence, psychological violence, at economic abuse. Physical violence, kasama rito ang pananakit o anumang akto na nagdudulot ng physical na pinsala. Sexual violence, pagsasamantala sa katawan ng biktima na walang pahintulot, kabilang ang panggagahasa at pang-aabusong sexual. Psychological violence, panggigipit o mga akto na nagdudulot ng emosyonal na pagdurusa, gaya ng pananakot, pangungutya, or verbal abuse. Economic abuse, paggamit ng pera o pinansyal na kapangyarihan upang makontrol ang biktima, tulad ng hindi pagbibigay ng sustento o pagkontrol sa kita ng biktima.
Now let's proceed to law number 5, which is known as Republic Act 9711 The Magna Carta of Women. The Magna Carta of Women is a comprehensive human rights law that seeks to eliminate discrimination through the recognition, protection, fulfillment, and promotion of the rights of Filipino women, especially those belonging in marginalized sector of the society. It's convey a framework of right for women based directly on international law. So itong law na ito ay para talaga sa mga kababaihan sa kanilang mga rights at magkaroon ng equal pagdating sa education, employment at sa mga rights nila para sa kanilang decision making. At itong law na to ay nagpoprotekta sa mga kababaihan due to sa mga discrimination, sa mga violence towards sa kanila. Ito rin po ay para rin sila magkaroon ng rights rights and freedom po na makaambag po sila ng equal at tama dito sa na ito, lipunan na to, which is the cooperation. Yun po ang purpose nitong law na ito. Tas here are the examples. Example number 1, participation and representation including undertaking temporary special measures and affirmative action to accelerate and ensure women's equitable participation and representation in the third level civil service, development, councils and planning bodies as well as political parties and international bodies including the private sector. Now, example number 2, protection and security in time of disaster and calamities and other crisis situation, especially in all phases of relief, recovery, rehabilitation, and construction efforts, including protection from sexual exploitation and other sexual and gender-based violence. Now, example number 3, the Magna Carta of Women also guaranteed the civil, political, and economic rights of women in the marginalized sector, food security and resource for food production, including equal rights in the titling of the land and issuance of stewardship, contract, and patents, localized, accessible, secure, and affordable housing, etc. So, that's all. Now, let's proceed to the next law.
This time we tackled about the law number 6, which is Republic Act 1039-8, an act declaring November 25 of every year as National Consciousness Day for elimination of violence against women and children. This law is all about honoring or recognizing the necessity of creating a thorough and organized campaign for additional consciousness on anti-violence against women. It is hereby declared to be observed on November 25th on each year as the National Consciousness Day for the elimination of violence against women and children. And these are the examples of 2023 18th-day campaign to end war, or United for Above Free Philippines. Campaign Objective 1. Revisit the amendments and provide the public with updated information on those protecting women and girls, specifically the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004, RA 9262, the Anti-Rape Law, RA 8353, as amended by RA 11648, Safe Spaces Act, RA 11313, Anti-Harassment Act of 1995, RA 7877, and expanded Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act of 2002, RA 9208 as amended by RA 11862. Dito sa campaign objective number 1, binigyang pansin ang mga pampubliko na nasabi na impormasyon sa mga batas na nagpoprotekta sa mga kababaihan. Malinaw dito ang mga batas na anti-violence against women and their children and anti-rape law at iba pa. In campaign objectives 2, gather public support for the advocacy and solicit share insights on their level of awareness and knowledge on law. Sa campaign objective 2 naman, pangangalap ng suporta ng publiko para sa advokasya at manghingi ng kanilang pananaw on their level of awareness patungkol sa kaalaman sa batas.
Bawal bastos law. Ang Republic Act No. 11-31-3, nakilala rin bilang Safe Space Act o karaniwang tinatawag na Bawal Bastos Law, ay isa ring batas sa Pilipinas na ipinatupad noong April 17, 2019. So, ang layunin nito ang maiwasan ng pang-aabuso batay sa kasarian sa pangpublikong lugar o online man or offline. Ang batas ay nagpaparusa sa mga kilos ng pang-aabuso batay sa kasarian tulad ng catcalling at iba pang online na mga pang-aabuso sexual na hindi nais at hindi inaasahan. For example, asking personal question, social or sexual life. Yung pagtatanong ng mga personal na tanong tungkol sa isang tao, lalo na ang tungkol sa kanilang buhay, panlipunan o sexual, ay maaari maging hindi angkop at hindi respeto sa kanilang privacy at dignidad. Sa pagtatanong ng mga ganitong tanong, maaari magdulot ito ng discomfort o hindi kagandahang loob sa kausap. Gesturing sexually ay tumutukol sa anumang kilos o galaw na may kahulugan ng pagtukoy sa pagpapakita ng mga bagay na may kaugnayan sa sexualidad na maaaring gawin sa pamamagitan ng mga galaw ng katawan, ekspresyon ng mukha o at iba pa anyo ng komunikasyon na nagsasaad na hindi tamang pagtanggap o pagnanais na hindi nais ng kausap. Plus, giving unwanted gifts. So, ang pagbibigay ng mga hindi nais na regalo na may kaakibat na sexual na mga konotasyon o intention ay maaari maging paraan ng pang-aabuso at paglabag sa karapatan ng isang individual sa kanyang dignidad at pagkatao.
Law number 8, Presidential Decree number 148, amending further sustain sections of Republic Act 679 or 679 as amended, commonly known as the Woman and Child Labor Law. Sabi dito, ang batas na ito ay tumutukoy sa mga manggagawang babae sa Pilipinas at ang batas na ito ay nagbibigay ng karapatan sa mga babae, trabahador o manggagawa magkaroon ng sapat na panahon upang makapagpahinga at makapag-alaga sa kanilang bagong silang na sanggol. Ayon dito na dapat ibigay ng mga magulang ang pangangailangan ng anak tulad ng bitamina, gatas, damit na kailangan nito. Whereas under Section 9, Article 2 of the new Constitution, the state shall, among other policies, afford protection to labor, promote full employment and equality employment, ensure equal work opportunities regardless of sex, race, or creed, and regulate the relationship between workers and employers. Example, equal work opportunity regardless of race. Sabi dito ay dapat pantay-pantay at tratuhin ng tama, anuman ang kanilang lahi, kulay, relihiyon, kasarian, bansang pinagmulan, edad o kapansanan, na dapat pantay-pantay kung anuman ang meron ka ngayon. Kung may kapansanan ka, hindi mahalaga, basta ipakita ng bawat isa na pantay-pantay ang trabaho. Next example, equal work opportunity regardless of sex. Sabi dito, magbigay ng proteksyon sa paggawa, itaguyod ang ganap na trabaho, tiyakin pantay-pantay na trabaho, anuman ang kasarian, lahi o paniniwala. Sabi dito is na dapat kung anuman ang kasarian na meron ka, babae ka man, hindi mahalaga kung ano yun, ipakita mo ang kaya mo, magkakayanin na makuha mo ang tiwala ng kumpanya para sa iyo. Next example, good relation between workers and employers. Ano nga ba to? Sabi dito is healthy relationship with their employers. Kasi nga, ang makikinabang dito is ang kumpanya na dapat ipakita mo yung respeto mo, ipakita mo yung respeto mo sa kanila, ibibigay nila yung respeto nila na para sa'yo. Magbigayan kayo ng respeto na para yung pag-unlad ng kumpanya is makikita nyo na sabay-sabay.
Ano nga ba ang Law 9 o number 348, Approval and Adoption of the Philippine Development Plan for Women for 1989 to 1992? Dito, kinikilala ng Estado ang papel ng kababaihan at pagbuo ng bansa at dapat tiyakin ang pangunahing pagkapantay-pantay ng kababaihan at kalalakihan. Sa batas na to, malaya ang kababaihan at kalalakihan sa pag-adoption at approval. Rin po doon sa picture ng Law of 9, dapat po meron tayong pagkakapantay-pantay sa trabaho, mapalalaki man o mapababae. Dapat rin po matuto tayo na kilalanin ang bias ng mga kasarian.
Law number 10 of approved and proposed laws under gender development. So, Executive Order number 208 is the further defining the composition, powers, and functions of the National Commission on the Role of Filipino Women. It is implemented on October 10, 1994, whereas Section 14 of Article 13 of the Filipino Constitution provides for the protection of women by providing such facilities and opportunities that will enhance their welfare and enable them to realize their full potential in the service of nation. In other words, the executive number 208 has been implemented to support women in their respective jobs. It also coverages the protection of women to avoid getting mistreated or to give them the opportunity to receive help so they can bring their very best without having a disadvantage of being born of a woman. For example, providing technical assistance in the setting up and strengthening of mechanisms on gender mainstreaming. Second is to undertake continuing advocacy to promote economic, social, and political empowerment of women. Lastly is to ensure that the gains achieved by Filipino women due to Philippine culture and the tradition shall be preserved and enhanced in the process of modernization. So that is all, and thank you for listening to the presentation of group number 2. Thank you.